Alright, the first recording went way too long and then it stopped randomly at 14 minutes, so I'm going to keep this brief. Also, Mom is power washing the backyard, but I guess that's just life. So here's the piece. I've already seasoned it and everything. I'm going to just briefly go through what I did. So when I got this piece, there's the thicker side and the thinner side. The thinner side had this extra piece of fat. I cut kind of between the meat and the fat. I cut upward to separate them cleanly, cut off the fat, got rid of it. Right here, there's usually a little bit of like triangular prism of fat. Same thing. I separated it, cut it off. The knife helps if it's really sharp. On the thinner side, there's often this membrane. I cut it off basically by coming in between the meat and the membrane. I slice it a bit, and then I slowly peel it back, and I kind of slice backward gently, kind of like a shaving motion, and it separates. If the knife is well sharpened, it's not going to take very long. Here's, what resulted from it. I also make these incisions along the breadth of the fish. I used to cut all the way through, but now I actually leave maybe about half a centimeter on either side, so that from the top you can see the incisions, but from the side it's mostly intact. I try to avoid the natural seams of the fish, like this for instance, because if you make the incision here it could tear all the way through, which is not a huge deal, but it makes it easier to sear it if it's not cut all the way through. I then crushed garlic. I've got this garlic crusher. I filled it up. Usually I like to do about 1 to 1.5 of this one's capacity for a piece of fish about this size. This piece of fish, by the way, is 391 grams. Once I've eaten it, I'll weigh the remaining skin and subtract it from the total. If you're interested in the nutritional value, weigh it raw, because when you cook it, it's going to come out much lighter, but all that's lost is the water. The actual nutritional value is for a 391 gram piece of fish. So I crushed garlic, I packed it into these incisions right here. It works really well with the sides intact. It holds much better than it did before when I cut it all the way through. For seasoning, I use salt, and I've got this Montreal chicken seasoning from McCormick. I like it, but obviously if you have seasonings you like better, then use those or add those or whatever. I prepped the piece, cut off the membrane, cut off the excess fat, made the incisions, crushed the garlic, stuffed it in there. And then for seasoning it, I put salt on the top, and then I put the chicken seasoning on the sides, and then on the top. I just find it easier to put on the sides first. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take it here. Also for prep work, oven at 400, and then cast iron skillet or some similar oven-safe receptacle. I've got it on medium -2. So I have it on pretty low flame for the most part. And then I'm going to use, I always fry everything in extra virgin olive oil, so I'm going to use some extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to put it on the skin side down, sides, top. I usually go wash my hands. I don't really time it, but I'm gone for maybe a couple of minutes. I use a spatula to kind of peel it off. If you have something that's non-stick, so much the better. But I kind of forcibly peel it off, and then I flip it on one side. So I do the bottom, then I flip it on the side for about a minute, sometimes a little bit longer. I think it sears a little bit less on this setting than on the previous, like medium or medium -1 setting. So I leave it on one side for about a minute, the other side for about a minute, and by then the sides have both stiffened because they've been cooked, and I flip it on its face on the top for another minute or so. I'd say eyeball it. When you have a pretty good sear, flip it back skin side down, and then put it in the oven. A piece this size I might keep in there between 15 and 20 minutes. This particular one, I'd say probably like, 18, 19 minutes. It's not gonna scorch. It might come out a little on the dry side. This is something that you'll have to experiment with based on your own personal preferences. I think salmon is one of those meats that can be done not necessarily well done. I always cook it all the way through. This is something where you proceed at your own discretion. And then once it's all the way cooked, I take out the skillet, and then I have just one of these deep dish plates. I put a paper towel there. I put the salmon on top of the paper towel to wick away excess oil and to let it rest and cool a bit, and then I eat it. Enjoy.